So what is going up, guys? So this is going to be my 1 year ownership review of my 2021 f150 power boost. So I'm going to go back a little bit first. So I first I had a 2015 Camaro, which I had about 3 years for, and I traded that in and I got this truck. And everyone told me I was stupid for spending a bunch of money on a truck, but you know, I really like it, so might as well get what you like, right? So that's what I did, and it turned out to be a good decision because I do a lot of outdoorsy stuff. And I throw stuff in the bed, so it's been really good for that. But so the power boost is probably the first that the Ford has came out with. Well, this is a hybrid, right? So it's electric and it's a gas. And this is the kind of the first gen they have of that. And it's not always the best to get the first version of something when it comes out, because they still have to work on software, make sure everything works. And I'm kind of seeing that in this right now. The first, I'll say, 6 months of having it was pretty good. Everything worked as it should. It has a digital display on the dash, has a big screen here in the middle. Everything's you know, everything's power, you know, everything. So everything's working good. Probably around the 7 to 8 month range that I've had this truck is where it has a little bit of problems with like the software, I'd say, because sometimes the digital dash just lags for whatever reason when it turns on. Sometimes it just turns black when after you turn it on in the first, I'd say, 30 seconds of driving it. It just turns black for some reason, and then after like a minute or two it comes back. But I think that's a pretty big flaw, and you know, your whole dash go out. And then after, let's say you want to play music, you know, the volume knob is a little laggy. Sometimes it's not as responsive as it was brand new. And then the big screen here, it has Apple CarPlay. So whenever you press like maps or whatever, or the phone, it lags. And yeah, you can definitely tell there's some bugs in the software. But mechanically, it's probably been a 9 out of 10. It would be a 10 out of 10, but I've had some problems with the axle on the left side on the front. It's leaking fluid right now. It's leaking grease or whatever it has. And then the transfer case is also leaking. Running leak, right? So it doesn't drip when it's sitting, or yeah, so when it's sitting, but it's a running leak. So when you turn on the car and you're using it, that's when it starts to, you know, leak. And I took it to the dealership. Horrible service, I'm gonna say right now. They said they couldn't do anything because it's just a little leak, and for it to be covered by Ford, it has to blow up and leave you stranded. And that's what it takes for them to replace it, which is kind of stupid. And that happened when I had this truck less than a year. So yeah, so it shouldn't. It's a brand new truck, so it should not be leaking. That's the thing I brought up to them, and they said, well, there's nothing we can do because it's a small leak. And I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll just take it. And the insurance or the warranty for it runs out at 36,000 miles, right? And I brought it in just before that at 35,980 miles. And you know what's crazy? When I picked it up, it had 36,002 miles. So they drove it around for whatever reason. They'll give you some, you know, some BS reason to hey, we had I'm sure they did it so I brought it back in and it was no longer in warranty, because you goes over 36,000 miles. But I'd say that was probably the only bad experience that I've had with this truck, is that it's leaking, and you know, the dealership is not a good dealership for, I'd say, ethical reasons. I was there actually in the service department, and the service manager was telling one of the guys that help you when you show up, you know, you give them the keys and you tell them what's wrong, to tell another owner that brought in his car, and he was calling to give him a bullshit answer, to give him a BS answer of what was wrong with this car, and they had to take longer for whatever reason, but it was all BS. They just wanted to charge him more. So yeah, I would not go to that dealership. But let's get back to this car, to this truck. This truck has been actually phenomenal. It is a power boost, which is it has 7.3 kilowatt motor in it, so you can weld off of it. You can put whatever you want on the plug and it'll handle it. I've only used it a handful of times, and probably the full year that I've used it. But the times I did use it, I would it was actually pretty useful to have something there. It's a good peace of mind to have something there. So whenever you're out somewhere and you might get stranded or whatever, that you have plug-in for like an air compressor or power tools or whatever. So yeah, I love that part of this truck. The interior has been pretty good. It has a lot of compartments in here, a lot of storage space. The back seats I never use. I use that. I just put them up and I put my dogs back there. So there's plenty of space back there. And then when I do put them down, there's plenty of leg room. This is a pretty big cab for a truck. So I love that part of it. It has cool heated seats. Those both work phenomenal. And this has a V6, a 3.5 EcoBoost motor with the generator connected to it. This has a 33 gallon tank. It fills up. I have big off-road tires on it, so before I would fill it up and it would go to like 620 miles in one tank, which is a lot. It's pretty cool. But after I put the big off-road tires, it's right around like 25, 30 miles. So 100 to like 90 to 100 mile difference, which is kind of crazy. But you know what? It looks pretty cool with the tires that I put on. So I'll keep it there for now. But yeah, this has been a phenomenal truck. The only also thing I don't like is that when it's in park. It's the knob in the middle is so finicky. You put it in drive and it gets out of drive and goes into park. It has a lot of safety features that I kind of are not very user friendly, that I don't really like. Other than the software issues and the leaks and the shift knob and the dealership, this truck has been pretty awesome. Right now I'm cruising on the freeway. I don't, you don't really feel the bumps. It has adaptive cruise control, so if a car in front of you slows down, it slows down. The volume knob stopped working, so it was stuck at 0, and no matter how much you would turn it, it didn't, the volume wouldn't go up. I took it to the dealership, and they said they would have to order a part, but like the next day, they said they would have to order a part and they would not know when it would come in. And the next day I picked up, they called me, they said it was ready and they had it working and everything, and they did, but it looks like they basically turned off they reset the whole monitor and everything, because all my preset things that you have in your car, like your seats and your music stations and all that, was back to when you first buy it. You you have to move everything back to how it was. That's how it was with mine. It looks like they just reset it, and I mean, I haven't had any problems from my volume knob since then, so it looks like the reset worked. But you know, like, why lie to your customer, you know, saying you're gonna put in a new part and you don't, and you just reset their truck and not even tell them that you did that. And I mean, it's not the biggest issue in the world, but it's something that would be good to know, you know. I towed a side-by-side in this truck, and then I towed it with another truck. My dad has like a 22 Dodge Ram, and that's a 6-speed. No, I think it's an 8-speed. But even though being an 8-speed, it was still high in the RPMs, and you could tell the motor was working harder, even though it was it's a bigger motor and better for towing, right? So I'd say the other 2 speeds helped a lot on this one, because when I tow with this one, it's pretty calm. It keeps the speed, and when you want it to go, it goes. So especially on the uphills, on the mountain roads, and you can really tell the difference between the 10-speed and the 8-speed in the Dodge Rams, even though the Dodge Ram has a Hemi motor, which is pretty famous. And so I was thinking about trading this in for a Model Y. My brother has a Model 3, and I kind of fell in love with Teslas, and the only reason that I don't like it is the range it would have and the towing. I just bought a Razor, and the towing, you know, I need to tow it around, right? And I can tow with the Model Y, but it has very limited range, and the charging would be kind of tricky for someone that has like a decent sized trailer in the back towing a side-by-side. So the only problem is I don't know how far it'll tow. I mean, the Model Y that I was looking at, the range was like 320, and I'm guessing with that much weight in the back, it would be like around 120, which is a decent amount, and you can probably get you limp to every station, every supercharging station. But it's just too much for me. I'd rather just fill up and go, especially with something I have in the back. But other than towing, I don't tow all the time. Like right now, I'm going to my dad's house, and I'm not towing anything. So right now, the Model Y would be perfect, because I'm just cruising. I'm not going far. I'm just going around town, and that's why, you know, I keep going back and forth between them. But I think I'm gonna stick with this one. Especially, I do have a loan op on this one. When I start to convince myself that I'm gonna get the Model Y, I go back to this one, and I have 0% interest for the loan term that I have for this. So right now, that is pretty good, and the interest right now are pretty high. Even Tesla has pretty good interest and are pretty good with that. You can get a loan through them, but no, I don't want to pay any more interest, so I'm good with my 0% on this truck. And this truck has treated me good. It's a beautiful truck. So there it is, guys. I forgot to film an outro. I'm here at my house. The conclusion is it's a good truck, and it's awesome. Thanks for watching the video. Peace.